A for at. B for bat. K for cat. D for what's going on with Dee today? Somebody's like, what in the hell? I mean, we like her and stuff, but like, what is? I mean, she's weird, but like, it's a bit much today. Hello, hi. It is me. It is I. Small town Dee. You're hiding these internet and akastra and bakalau yella. Please subscribe, like, and comment and share. Just tell people, if you don't like me, you're like, I think you would like her, friend. I don't really get her, but maybe you would like her, friend. Maybe friend would like me. Like, guys, now I feel like, oh, dark city, and I'm about to load shade again, and I don't think I'll be done with this video. We haven't done this in a while. When I started the channel initially, I actually did want to like have a drink with you guys and then whatever. But then I was fast turning into a little bit of a... So then I went dry. Do you guys remember I was dry for like 5 months? Hey now. Some of you don't know about 5 days. Some of you don't know about 5 minutes. Like, put some respect. Oxalayo, I'm back now. I've been back for a while. But, okay, update on the alcoholism. Okay, I'm not joking, but like, okay, I was drinking excessively. It was not to my liking, you know? I wanted to reset and not drink during the week. I'm failing today because I've got some wine left over from yesterday and it's like yelling at me from inside the fridge. Can you imagine the trauma? Anyway, so I must drink it. Okay, great. But I'm doing great in that I drink on weekends. Some weekends I don't even. But actually that thing where I need like a savannah key and the weight loss, it's been great for that. I mean, obviously I'm not yet a skinny legend, but like skinny legendness loading, you know? Pending vibes, you know? Okay, let's get into this. Hi. Oh, the devil's jokes. Anyway, why am I down here today? I want to talk about something that's very close to my heart and hopefully I don't cry at any point. We see that I have a crime problem. And that is the literacy issue that we have really as all of the globe, but I want to speak on it in our context as South Africans and what's been really going on there and why it bothers me so much and if it can be fixed. Is it broken? Like what's really going on? Why did I start with sounding the alphabet? In case you're wondering what I was doing, I was sounding the alphabet. I was taught to read that way. I must tell you guys that part of the reason this is so close to my heart is that I struggle to read and write as a little person. Like everything came later for me. I also struggled to not really... I realized that I had to try and figure out why reading and writing was such a difficult thing for me to grasp. I did not speak English in grade 1. And I was in class with a lot of kids who went to good preschools and stuff. So they were already like efficient in communicating in this language. And I had to catch up the speaking, understand what's being said to me. So I couldn't take in the learning material, right? And that's why it happened for me. I'd say I started reading and writing at somewhat an okay level in grade 3 going into grade 4. So it's something that bothers me because I was at 9-10. I was able to correct it by myself. I'll take credit for it all by myself because that's what the fuck I had to do. I was able to, so I know it can be corrected. So when people see a young person struggling with this reading and writing thing and they throw in the towel, it's rather heartbreaking to me because in most cases it's an easy fix in that the methods are there, but it's gonna take a patient somebody to do it. I know this because years later, after I had to do it for myself, this is what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago for me at this point, I had to teach somebody in my life to catch up and get to a reading level of their grade and their age. it was terrible, you guys. It was truly such an emotional time in my life because I just saw me, I just saw how I was struggling, and it was just whatever. I guess she's one of the ones that can't read. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like they throw you away, and it's not. It was an easy fix for me. I tried to speak to some people in my life who are teachers to really get a better angle for me to come and have this conversation, because I know I had an idea, I just needed them to confirm something. I'm talking from the angle of the rural and township schools, the predominantly, if not completely black schools, right? Because that's where we're seeing most of the problems, or that's just really the kids that I'm choosing to care about. Truly, I'm not telling you. Not that I don't care about all the other children, but I need us to have this conversation within this context, because that's how I'm seeing the problem. One of my mates says to me, because I wanted her to confirm, I'm like, at foundation level, how do you guys teach the kids how to read? She's like, so from grade 1, 2, and I think 3, or a little bit of 3, we're teaching them in their home language. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's wonderful. I would have loved to learn how to do that much earlier in my life, because I did it later in my life, and baby, it's a mess. It's a fucking hot mess, okay? Let's not even. But that's what they do to their kids. That's their language of teaching and learning. That's the language of instruction in class. They do their numbers and that. They do the social, whatever subjects that they have at that foundation, they're being instructed and taught, and they're learning in their mother tongue, right? That's what's happening. And then somewhere along the line, in grade 3 or something, all of that is interrupted, and English becomes the language of reading, of teaching and learning. It just becomes it. Which then begs the question, why the fuck did you do this to these kids? Why couldn't you start them off with both, right? And then they make the excuse that our languages aren't developed enough for us to teach all the way throughout our lives. Bullshit. Rubbish, right? Afrikaans somehow is, though, right? All the way to University of Stellenbosch. The kids can be, and I'm not saying take something away from the Afrikaans speaking kids. I'm saying translate the learning material in all the grades, all the way up there to the languages that you decide that you're going to start these kids off with. And then when they start them off in grade 3, they want this miracle to happen where the kids should just get it. Like, they should just get it. They don't do what I did when I started this video. A, B, C, D, E, F, G is something that annoys me. I find it fucking useless, because that's not how you read. It's nice to know the alphabet. This is an A, this is a B, but knowing an A is also how we say apple. That's how that happens. Knowing that the sound, one of the sounds that A makes is A, is how you say apple. Huge difference, right? It's not even just the issue of pronunciation, because we can get fixated and stuck on that, and it's not even that. When children don't know how to sound the alphabet, they end up not knowing how to read. I then asked my friend, I'm like, what methods do you use when you get there? We went to similar schools, her and I, so I remind her of the sounding. She's like, we don't make them sound. How? How are you not making them sound? And then when they can't read, we're like, oh, we don't know. Why? They can't read? Everybody's looking at, what? What are we confused about? We're launching the black child. At every turn, we're putting a hurdle for the black child to have to try and jump over. And if it looks like them, we're like, oh, we must make it higher. Make it higher because they can jump, right? Because what is this? What are we doing? And then it just stops. And then they're like, no, the languages aren't developed enough. We don't have what is photosynthesis in Zulu? How are we going to figure? Oh, okay. You managed to figure out a whole bunch of stuff about the Bible. When it was time to translate that, you had all the Zulu words. You had all the Betty words then. Plenty of Bibles have been into Why? Because it's not useful. That's why. Like, take all the time you need with that one. I know some of you are like, sit with that one. Take all the time you need, okay? But I'm telling you now, rubbish. And if you're gonna say that, then just start the kids off in English. Teach them, but don't. They need to learn it at the exact same time. But don't make their mother tongue the language of teaching and learning if you're not gonna see them through with it. Don't do that. Sound the alphabet to your kids. It's going to teach them to read a lot better. I had this huge poster when I was teaching my baby how to read, or trying to get her to a reading level. The same chart that we had in class. Ma'am would have this chart up, and when she would leave the classroom for a loo break or whatever, and there's nobody to watch us, it was sound your alphabets. Then we would sound them, and we would sound them. None of this, manmani emelela, ungwale batho ba o rasa, ge a buya. Bitch, what? What's that do for the kids? What does that do for the kids? Truly. Right? I had this huge poster for her so I'd be sitting with her here, and the poster is on a door, and we would be trying to read and she's not getting the word. And I'd make her sound each, and the word would just start happening in her mouth because that's how she learned. Very quickly, she could read. And after that then comes writing, right? Very quickly. So it's not tricky. The method is not tricky. So then why aren't they doing it? Why aren't our kids being taught to read in the schools, in the rural schools, in the township schools? Why aren't the same methods that are being used in model C schools, why aren't those same methods being applied here? Right? Because they're so comfortable coming to us, whatever minister is the portfolio at the time, so comfortable around this time of the year, the exams and the matrics, so comfortable to come stand in front of a news crew and say to us, the kids just can't read. Their reading levels are so, shut the fuck up, bitch. Like, their reading levels are so appalling. You're appalling. Like, why? And then they try to shift the responsibility constantly to the parents, right? If you are dealing with rural kids and you are aware that most of them are coming from homes where the parents themselves aren't literate, and your take is to say, oh, the parents aren't helping them with the homework, the parents aren't meeting us halfway. Which parents? The same parents you know can't read. The same parents who were failed by the same system and ended up in a situation where they couldn't read or write properly and now can't help these kids. Those are the parents that you want to come to the table. Those same parents. You know the demographic of what it is that you're dealing with here. You know the community that these kids belong to. You know what the literacy rate could possibly be in this community. And you're half-assing it in class and getting paid for half-assing it as the teacher, but also the department in totality. You're half-assing it, and then you want the parent who's not getting paid like you to do your job for you, or half of the job for you. So you're a glorified babysitter, essentially, because you're not an educator. Nobody comes out of your classroom, Abu Gwile. Nobody comes away from you knowing how to read. And they're very comfortable. This is when we have to start calling out the teachers. Very often, we try to speak highly of our teachers, right? Because we know it's a hard job, and we say they're underpaid, and we say this, and we say that. But we don't always mention how they never advocate for the learner. How they know when it's time to have their little picket signs up when they need to get a raise. You're getting a raise. What's the pass rate? Why don't they have performance reviews? Do they? And how is it that in this one profession, your entire classroom can fail, but you get paid? There are schools in my province that gets 0% matric pass rates. Riddle me the fuck that. And everybody who's an alleged educator in that school, in those premises, got paid. They got paid the whole fucking year. Vana ababugwa. And that's why they don't give a shit. They're not incentivized because their kids were in the classroom with me by the schools where we've been taught how to sound the alphabet. So they don't care about the kids sitting in front of them. I don't even think they recognize them as people, in that you are responsible for the outcome of somebody's life, how their life is gonna move from. You are the it's immense. They almost remind me of taxi drivers, how reckless you are. At any given moment, you are responsible for like 15 plus lives, but you're so reckless on the road. And if anything should happen and we lose all the ripple effect, just the damage but they don't care, right? Or that's teachers, especially Black teachers in rural and township schools. Don't give a shit because the ones that they birthed aren't sitting in those classrooms. They don't care. I understand the frustration with the high school teacher when you're having to deal with a whole bunch of kids that can't read and write, right? And so we go back to having to fix it at foundation level. There are a lot of initiatives that have been started by private citizens to keep children in school, the girl child, the pad drives. Those things are necessary, but they also feel a little bit too late. Half the time we're trying to keep people in school who can't comprehend what's being taught because they don't understand the language. They don't understand what's being taught to them. And it's the most heartbreaking thing for me. Truly, it is. So then how do we fix it? Is it broken? No. It's not broken. And this is my conspiracy theory. Stay with me. I don't think it's broken. I don't think the system is broken. I think the system is functioning as intended. Truly. I look at the South African workforce. We're not all supposed to sit at whatever big firm in our air-conditioned offices. There aren't enough jobs available for such people. But what there is, as somebody who also lives in such a rural agricultural province, what there is and will always be are these large farms owned by individuals that have owned them for eons and eons and eons, and the wine farms and the mines. The industries that can absorb a large number of people are often seeped in exploitative labor. They require you to stay somewhat illiterate and desperate. And so it feels like the education system is deliberately being sabotaged in order for the people to fall through the cracks to continue to feed these industries that make up a large part of the workforce. So they can continue to pay people 2.5 for the next 1,000 years and have it be okay because you didn't stay in school. The system is designed to fail you. And those of you that make it through, it's by luck. You weren't supposed to really, because ain't no way you just teach the kids this way, then you start teaching them in this language, and then you don't even teach them to sound the alphabet when you do that. And then when you see them failing, you change nothing. You don't change the methods. You don't say, is something not working here? You just come stand in front of us and you're like, the reading level, see, parents aren't helping kids with their homework. You're a liar. You're a liar. And again, you sold us out. You want us to not make it out of these situations. Because the only way capitalism functions and thrives is if there's like a large population of people that can have their labor exploited for the few. So the system is working fine. If we are going to want the kids to get to a reading level that will allow them to get through school and do better for themselves, the initiatives are going to have to come from us as private citizens. The programs to teach kids how to read are going to come from us, just like the pad drives. They're still not giving the little girls pads so they can stay in school. They're fine with them skipping those days and not coming. You, private citizens, had to start initiatives to keep these girls in school. And once again, we're going to have to get it, like, pull our sleeves up and figure out how are we getting these kids to read. Because I can't imagine how disheartening it must feel to get a question paper and not even understand what's being asked of you. And we're so okay with labeling our kids as dumb or less than smart or expecting less from them and never acknowledging that we're not giving them tools to even work with. We're very, very comfortable with that, especially teachers who teach in these spaces. I've seen it and I've heard the language. The older ones are worse. The older teachers in these environments, how they treat younger teachers who come in, passion-centered teachers who want to make a difference, they will beat that fucking spirit out of you. They will make you feel small. They will quash every initiative that you try to come up with because it reminds them of their inadequacies. It reminds them how much they failing kids. So how dare you come here and try to upstage me, right? We've heard the stories. We have friends who teach in environments where people are always like, oh, right? Because if you and her have your classrooms right next to each other and you manage to get your kids to understand and be bright, then it's going to show that she's actually not a good educator. Right? So they do everything to, if you are a young teacher in these environments, please don't quit on the kids. Don't quit on them. That's how we end up with the situation of the restless high school, where it's no longer an environment of teaching and learning more than it is you're managing children, right? Because they don't know how to sit still. They don't know. They can't absorb the study material. They don't have the comprehension to. So you end up with a restless high schooler. That's why you end up with kids who are constantly trying to get attention and do whatever because they can't participate in the class as they intended to or supposed to. They can't engage with anything. And then instead of it being a teaching and learning environment, we're policing things, we're stopping fights, and we are trying to make sure this one is actually a school. We are marking registries, we're getting paid. But the kids aren't being taught. I have a high school not too far from me. The matriculants are sleeping at the high school. They're at 5 a.m. They barely leave because apparently they're in matric. And how are you sleep deprived and also able to retain information? That's not a thing. And you only see this kind of thing, great, I'm no shitting. You only see it in rural schools. Nobody at my high school was sleeping at the school. And we have 100% pass rate. Nobody was sleeping at the school because that's not a thing. It's not. The kids are it's panic. It's pure panic of realizing that you don't even understand what's being asked of you in the question paper, and it's not your fault. It's so that ZZ2 can continue to have a supply of people to exploit. That's how the fuck that's happening. But anyway, bye Yella. Only because I'm not sharing, so I've lost my train of thought. Bye Yella.